Do you see what I see? That's actually a payphone. Kind of curious if it actually still works. I haven't seen one of those in years. This here was actually the form of communication we used to use back in the day before cell phones became a mainstream item. Back then you did have cell phones or you did have car phones, but they were kind of an experimental stage and beyond the reach of most because the prohibitive price that you had to pay every month for them, and the only ones that really owned them were business owners and so forth that could expense it pretty much. But this here was our form of communication. A lot of new generations not gonna know what this is unless they've been to jail and prison, of course. But for the most part, you really don't see these anymore. But this was very, very popular back in the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s and stuff, before cell phones was a big thing. And this was our main form of communication. So I might go up to it, see if it actually works. And here you go. Let's get a good shot of it pretty much. And this is one of the last modern payphones that was around before cell phones actually took over. Now, of course, payphones have been around for a long, long time. Like, since after the telegram, you had phone booths, and then eventually you had these as the last ones, which these are the last modern payphones. Unfortunately, this one does not work. You can hear there's nothing coming out of it. It's pretty much dead, and it is in kind of disrepair. Like, this is coming out and everything else. It's just nice to see one of these relics actually still around, even though it's not operational. But this was what we used as our main form of communication before cell phones became a thing. Pretty much you put a quarter into it, you dial your number, and you make your call. And back then you had pagers and stuff like that, so if someone paged you, you just went and found a near payphone, go ahead and make your call, and that was it. People use these things, of course, to do deals. They went ahead and, family, whatever. You use them pretty much for everything because this was your only form of communication besides your house phone, which is also pretty much becoming extinct nowadays. But let's go take a closer look at it. Kind of funny to actually see one of these still around, actually. Of course, it's rusting, kind of in disrepair. Here you go. We'll go look up there. There shows you the phone logo, which you could typically see on the street, so you knew where one was. Let's just go around it pretty much. Kind of interesting to actually see one of these actually still up, even though it's not functional. I'm shocked they haven't taken it down or torn it down yet, but there you go. This was the last of the modern payphones before cell phones took over everything.